Alright guys, what's going on? We're live. Today, just been doing a little bit of work. Hands are still a little dirty, but gotta wait for some parts and some people to show up. So I thought I'd sit down and watch a little bit of YouTube like I do, and came across a video by a guy whose channel is just called Paul K. Apparently he has a problem with his Dodge Challenger Hellcat. And when I saw the video, I noticed, and you can probably tell in the title of the video up top here, that he right away, it looks like he was mad at the dealership, which actually kind of drew my attention to the video because you know, I see that all the time. I see people who do have legitimate lemon law claims or don't, or anywhere in between, and they like to blame the dealership that they bought it from. So I was kind of curious why he felt like it was the dealership's fault that his car was defective. I mean, if you go and you bought something from Walmart, you wouldn't necessarily think that it was their fault that an item was defective. You would just go and return the item. So in any case, it drew my attention to the video when I probably would have passed it over, because a lot of people will claim lemon law when they don't have a claim for lemon law, but because he was blaming the dealership, I wanted to look. And Count Dantes is on the stream. Hey bud, happy Friday, and happy Friday to you. I'm surprised anybody's watching at noontime. I was kind of like, I wonder if anybody will actually watch a stream at noon on a Friday. And I might have to stop and look at my phone because I am still kind of working. So just like I said, I have a little bit of time, so I'm just waiting, you know. So anyway, so like I was saying, this guy here with the Hellcat, he put out a video, and I put in the description the URL to his video so you can actually watch it. I don't want to just play the video and react to it because I would be kind of bummed out if somebody did that to one of my videos. I'll leave it playing in the background for a little bit just so you can see. But there were some, I am going to paraphrase what happened. There are going to be details I'm going to kind of gloss over that I don't necessarily think are super important to the situation. But essentially, this guy bought this Hellcat brand new. So that's the first thing we got to think about. Lemon law only applies to brand new cars. If you ever buy a used car, or you hear anybody ever say they bought a used car and they're trying to claim lemon law on it, automatically case dismissed. It's not lemon law. Used car purchases do not qualify. Doesn't matter if it was a demo car. It doesn't matter if it was bought for a day and returned. If it was titled in an individual's name, if it was titled at all, business, individual, whatever, it's used. So he qualifies. So he's good to go on that. So okay, and so yeah, so he's all good there as far as the new car level. Now the next thing he goes on to tell, which is a significant portion of the video, he tells the service history related to this car and being covered under lemon law. And I mean, I can't remember every detail of it. Like I said, after the stream, you can go check it out and you can see what happened. But essentially, he was having a problem where the car was pulling to the right. He brought it into the dealership to get the problem, you know, addressed. They did an alignment, and when they did the alignment, apparently they moved the cradle, which most of us that are actually working on cars call a subframe. I'm pretty sure it's not called a cradle even in the parts catalog. It's called a subframe assembly, but that's not that important. So because of the fact that I guess in this particular car, I haven't worked on a lot of Challengers, so I don't know from personal experience. I work on a lot of trucks, and if I do work on cars, they're not quite this new or nice, just to be honest. But apparently in this car, the rear camber is non-adjustable, but I don't know how shifting, even if it is non-adjustable camber, I don't know how adjusting the subframe over to one side or the other would help, because you would fix the camber on one side but throw out the camber on the other side. So I don't know. It doesn't even sound like that's the camber is the issue, because if it's pulling to one side, then it should be a toe adjustment most of the time. But okay. So anyway, they maybe they were all the way to the end of the adjustment, they shifted over the subframe, did whatever they had to do. So then he goes on to drive it some more, still has the same issue. He gets a flat tire, gets the tire repaired at a tire shop. As you can see in the video, he's actually showing every single piece of service history to the car. So he gets the tire repaired at a tire shop, and the tire shop shows him that he's got cupping on the inside of his rear tires, which is a camber issue. That's why I was saying camber before, because they were having a camber issue causing some cupping on the, or not necessarily cupping, but accelerated wear on the insides of the rear tires. So that'd be my guess, is it's a camber issue. I'm really surprised if this has independent rear suspension, which I'm not even sure it does, but if it has independent rear suspension, I don't see why it wouldn't have a camber adjustment. Now, if it has a solid axle on the back, which I would think it does, but it might not. It might be more based on a Mercedes product and have that independent rear suspension kind of held over from when Daimler was part of Chrysler. But I mean, I don't know, because I haven't had to do it. Just going by the information he's got. So he went back to the dealership, made his complaints. His tires were under warranty, I guess. It's all part of it. Said that there was still a problem, so they replaced his tires, and they went on to try and do another alignment, move the subframes again, which, I mean, it's a lot of moving around of structural pieces in your car, especially for being pretty low mileage, brand new like it was. Then they gave him new tires. They messed that job up. They scratched up his wheels putting the tires on, and I guess they put on the wrong tires, but the wrong tires isn't a big deal. Like, the scratching the wheel up, that's annoying, but that's not a manufacturer defect. We still haven't hit the threshold for lemon law just yet, because the problem has to be worked on. I think in most states it's 3 times. He said in his video that where he is in Nevada, it's 4 times. I'm not sure, but he still hasn't even been there 3 times. So then, he gets on, and the problem is just getting worse and worse. And I guess he brought it in a couple more times, and we're kind of glossing ahead here, because he had like complaints about people making promises about replacing his tires, and how it wasn't getting done, and people weren't living up to it. I mean, that's not lemon law related. So I just want to talk about lemon law. So he went on to get it worked on 3 or 4 times, and finally, like, the problem just wasn't getting fixed. He emailed somebody on the corporate side at Chrysler, and they asked him to have the car looked at a different dealership, and they were going to send somebody out to the dealership to inspect it from corporate, which happens all the time. Even at the RV dealership I worked at, stuff that had major problems would usually actually get handled by corporate, or not corporate, but by the manufacturer. They had like specialists that just handled like some common issue. So they were saying they were going to fly a person out to fix his car, which means they're taking it seriously if they're even discussing flying somebody from Michigan to Nevada to work on your car. you know, all the thousands and thousands of cars they sell every year. They're going to fly some guy out there to work on it. That's a big deal. You have a problem. And I don't think that Chrysler as a company was denying that he had a problem and that it was serious. Because, you know, obviously, especially on a high dollar car like this, we're talking about, you know, a hellcat $80,000 car, you know, that you can barely haul your groceries in. So they're going to take that claim seriously because it's a lot of money and they probably don't take a big margin of profit on a car like that in general. So sorry, my phone keeps going off. Okay. But yeah, so with all that being said, they they had him go down to another they had him go down to another dealership, and they were going to fly somebody out to go ahead and look over his car. Sends it there for 10 days. They say the car can't be fixed. The service department at the dealership admitted that the car was a lemon at that point, and it had met all the criteria of being a lemon. So the process starts. You know, like anything, the dealership doesn't have anything to lose by you getting your car bought back or by you claiming your car is a lemon. So let me just reply to this person. So they don't have anything to lose, like as a dealership. Corporate, the manufacturer has something to lose, but the dealership only has things to gain. Because if they buy your car back, you're going to get another car. That's usually the contingency of a buyback. So they probably are happy that you're going to buy another car from them. They're going to make another sale. They're not going to lose anything. They're only going to gain something by you having a buyback. But they are limited by their agreement with the manufacturer that they can't help you initiate a buyback. They can't suggest a buyback. They can't assist you with a buyback until the buyback has been arbitrated, has already been done, you know, and agreed to and everything. Then at that point, they can start helping you. So long story short, this guy goes through a couple different attorneys, negotiates back and forth with Chrysler. Finally, he gets the buyback all signed over. So as part of the whole thing, they have to, because it's a buyback situation, there's some type of department that handles that. That handles him surrendering the car and, you know, all the logistics of getting that car back and doing whatever they're going to do. Because if they do, there's a difference between a buyback and a lemon. So far, his car has not been declared a lemon. Okay, his car has just been bought back by the manufacturer, and the manufacturer has to decide what they're going to do with it. So, Tim says, is that the casting couch in the background? Yes, Tim, it is the casting couch in the background. I mean, that's just my other persona. So, Count Dante says, do you know if the lemon law applies to RVs? It does and it doesn't. So, RV dealers are going to try and tell you that lemon law does not apply to recreational vehicles, especially the particular RV dealership I worked at. And I don't think that that's true. I do think that they do apply to RVs, but they do not apply to certain aspects of the RV. So like if you had a car, anything that's under warranty is subject to lemon law. But I think with an RV, and this is not based on actual, like, on the books law, this is based on legal precedent. The only things on an RV that are really subject to lemon law are the mechanical driving parts, the stuff that applies to safety. If you have like plumbing issues, like a lot of them have issues with the drain for what they call the black tank, you know, the solid waste tank. All those drains plug up or they leak, or if you have like stuff like that, you're not going to get any help with lemon law or buyback. But because the RV manufacturer doesn't actually produce the motor vehicle portion of it, unless it's a travel trailer, at which point a trailer, it's like not even, like, that's a whole other thing. I don't even think you can get lemon law on a trailer, brand new or otherwise. But if we're talking about an RV, meaning a drivable unit, the driving portion of it is not even produced by the RV manufacturer. The manufacturer actually buys like these chassis vehicles. You know, it's like just a driveline and chassis, and then they're slapping their actual RV portion on top of the chassis that they get from Ford. Like if you have a gas powered Class A motorhome, then you probably have a Ford with a V10 in it. If you have a diesel pusher, as they're called, it's usually a Freightliner. And then if you have like Class C's, those are all just a whole variety. Class C's are like the type with like the van for the front, or sometimes they're a truck, but I've never seen one made recently that looks like a truck in the front. Usually it's a van. It's based on a van chassis. Back to the lemon law. Where were we? My phone's going off like crazy, and you guys are being pretty cool in the chat, so lost my place. But I am still working, like I said. I just have a little bit of extra time. But yeah, so anyway, he's working at this point. This guy with the Hellcat is working with the company that is supposed to deal with his actual surrender, is what they call it. Basically, he's giving the car back. They're working with him to get the car back and get him another car. And so they have to coordinate with the dealership, them kind of hosting his surrender, as it's called, of the vehicle. And the dealership refused to do that. Not necessarily the whole dealership, but the service department manager refused to allow that to happen there. And now this guy's really mad, and rightfully so. He's been through hell and high water. I mean, he has a 2017 that he bought brand new. We get all the way where he made this video in August. So the better part of over a year, he's been dealing with this car. Only put on like less than 10,000 miles on the car. It was I think it was at like 7,000 miles or something, he said. And the car's been broken quite a bit. So it's been a really frustrating time. He says he bought the car cash. He didn't even finance it, which is crazy for an $80,000 car. Maybe he did finance it. He just didn't finance it through Chrysler or a bank that took the title as collateral. But anyway, he claims that he bought it cash. So if you buy something like that cash, imagine how long it would take you to accumulate that kind of money, and it's a lot of time. So. Anyway, he's rightfully disappointed, and now after everything, the dealership, which had nothing to lose by him surrendering the car with them and only things to gain, refused to do it, and he gets really mad. And in the video, I mean, I'll show that part here. At the end of the video, I think he literally takes the plate off with the name of the dealership. And I find this interesting too. He still had a temporary tag on it after a year. I don't know why. And he snaps that little frame and he throws it on their sidewalk. He's so mad at the dealership. And I understand kind of why. Because like I said, this is a dealership that went and repeatedly let him bring this car in for service when it didn't have a serviceable issue. It should have been handled better. They could have went from square one and said, listen, the adjustment we need to make, you can't make on this car. This is a manufacturer defect. They should have worked from the manufacturer from day one to get him to get that looked at. He shouldn't have had to go and email the manufacturer himself to set up when the guy was supposed to come and look at it. They should have done that, and they should have said, hey, we're going to have a guy come in from Michigan and look at this real quick. Do you mind leaving it here or bringing it back when he gets here? They didn't do any of that. They pretty much just kept Band-Aid fixing him, telling him what he wanted to hear, and sending him out the door. For that, I do think the dealership is wrong. Now, the reason why the dealership probably didn't help him with the surrender of the car is due to the fact that they probably got in trouble, my guess. The thing is they got a customer with an $80,000 to possibly $100,000 car, depending on how it's optioned out. And so it's a pretty big ticket item. They've made them really upset, both by their, the way they handled them, their soft skills, doing stupid things like just leaving the car in there for days and days and days. I mean, he accumulated over 30 days in service, which right there qualifies for lemon law. Plus, it's been in service 5 times for the same issues. And he's got a car he can't drive, really. I mean, he can drive it, but it's probably not fun to drive pulling hard. And ultimately, at the end of the day, when they did service it, they didn't service it up to standard, because the other dealership that serviced it could not get the alignment into the specification. That means that they were aligning it without putting in a specification, without notifying the customer that they couldn't put in a specification, and send them out the door, charging warranty time repeatedly on an issue that couldn't be fixed, which is almost worse than getting a buyback. They were going to get a buyback from the day that they manufactured that car. There was no mitigating that. But going and putting that warranty time hurts the manufacturer worse accumulatively over the country, because there's a lot of cars out there. You think about how much warranty time is wasted that the manufacturer's paying out. So yeah, they probably weren't happy with that. And then the service department damaged his wheels on his car when they changed the tires. And we're talking about a set of wheels that are probably, the 2 wheels that they damaged are probably $1,200. So there's another, just pouring money down the drain with this service department. And they put the wrong tires on twice, which is not that big of a deal. But when you do it twice, it's kind of annoying. That's the reason why you're changing the tires a second time, and you're just putting the same tires back on. So yeah. So needless to say, I think that him being upset with the dealership is totally justified. And he says, like, nobody should ever buy a car from them. I disagree. Their service department sucks, but I wouldn't think that their sales department is that bad. And if you buy a car from them, that doesn't mean you have to have it serviced with them. If you have a warranty, you can go to any dealership as long as it's a brand new car. You go to any Dodge dealership and you're fine. I just would go there only if they offer the best price, and that's the only reason I would go to any dealership, is if they offer the best price on the car that I want. That'd be the only reason. I'm not in the market for a brand new car, but if I was, and I was going to buy it from a dealership, which I guess you would have to if it was brand new, that's what I would do. I would go to the one that had the car I wanted in the specifications I wanted at the best price. So if that dealership qualifies as that, then go there. But don't get your car worked on there, because it sounds like it's horrible. But yeah. So like I said, check out his video. It's down in the description. Also, if you've watched this long, please like, comment, subscribe, and I'll catch you guys.